In this episode, we are going to look at disease. Why disease? Why are we suffering from diseases? There are three parts in a man which gets affected by disease. The first one is the spirit, then the soul, then the body. We do not experience any pain in the spirit and in the soul, but in the body, yes we do. Because of sickness, we often lose peace in the family. And sickness costs a lot of money, and some sicknesses even lead to death. Statistics show that over 50 million people die from illness. There are few reasons listed in the Holy Scriptures about sickness. There are three types of diseases. Man-made diseases, the diseases caused by the devil, diseases caused by God. Man-made diseases. The first among the man-made diseases is anxiety or sorrow. Sorrow is the source of our illness. When the word comes to Egypt, they will be in anguish at the report from Tyre, says Isaiah 23 verses 5. 2 Corinthians 7:10 says, but worldly sorrow brings death. Fear and sorrow is the source of our diseases. Secondly, lust. 2 Samuel 13:1-2 says, now it was after this Absalom son of David had a beautiful sister whose name was Tamar, and Amnon the son of David loved her. Amnon fell in love with Tamar and desired to have her, and this caused him sickness. Thirdly, man is sick because of his sins. Psalms 38:3 says, there is no peace in my bones because of my sin. And 2 Samuel 12:15 says, after Nathan had gone home, the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife had borne to David, and he became ill. God punished David for his sin through sickness and by death of his only child born of Uriah's wife. Hospitals and illness are increasing because of the guiltless sins. And fourthly, partaking in the communion without reverence and carelessness. 1 Corinthians 11:27-30 says the criteria for partaking in the Holy Communion. Whoever takes it without reverence or carelessly will have to face the consequences. Some may even go to the extent of death. For 30th verse says, for this reason many among you are weak and sick, and a number asleep.
Let's look at the disease of the devil. In Job chapter 2 verse 7 says, so Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. In Luke chapter 13 verse 11 says, and a woman was there who had been crippled by a spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not straighten up at all. In Matthew chapter 12 verse 22 says, then they brought him a demon-possessed man who was blind and mute, and Jesus healed him so that he could both talk and see. In Mark chapter 9 verse 25 we can see the deaf and mute spirit. This disease from the devil is not only meant for the non-Christians, it also meant for the Christians and also the people who are doing God's ministry. In 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 7, Paul says, therefore, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. We have seen the verses that stated the disease from devil. Now let's see the verses that state the disease from God. Number 1, the sickness of the name of God. In John chapter 11 verse 3-4 says, so the sisters sent word to him, saying, Lord, behold, him who you love is sick, which is Lazarus. But when Jesus heard this, he said, this sickness is not to end in death, but for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified by it. In John chapter 9 verse 1-3 says, as he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciple asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Neither this man nor his parents sinned, said Jesus, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. Number 2, the disease that God gives is for disciplining and teaching. In 1 Chronicles chapter 21 verse 14 says, so the Lord sent a plague on Israel, and 70,000 men of Israel fell dead. In Acts chapter 12 verse 21-23 says, on an appointed day he wrote, having put on his royal apparel, took his seat on the rostrum and began delivering address to them. The people kept crying out, the voice of God and not of a man. And immediately an angel of the Lord struck him, because he did not give God the glory, and he was eaten by wolves and died. In Acts chapter 9 verse 9 says, for 3 days Paul was blind and did not eat or drink anything. Why was Paul's eye blinded for 3 days? This small punishment was needed for Paul to come to God completely. It is a weapon that God uses to repair many of us and get closer to Him. Do not get discouraged at the time of sickness. God has a message to tell us. My beloved brothers and sisters, we have seen the three reasons listed in the Holy Scripture. Number 1, man-made disease. Number 2, the disease caused by the devil. Number 3, the disease caused by God. As a Christians, we have to know where the diseases are coming from. In this episode, we have seen all the reasons. In next episode, we will see the solutions for these diseases. May the Lord bless you. Amen.